Yeah, the good news here is we're not seeing the driver do those crazy aggressive things that people tend to do when they get trapped in traffic like this and they're trying to flee the police. So that's the good news. The bad news, of course, is the person is not pulling over. We're northbound side of the 405 past Roscoe in the North Hills area, and we're seeing this slow stop and go pursuit up the northbound side of the 405. You saw just a second ago the LAPD air unit. This all started down in Inglewood with the Inglewood police. The CHP has taken over the pursuit, but LAPD is assisting with an air unit. So it's kind of a multi-jurisdictional approach to this thing and try to resolve this in a safe way. Absolutely, and looking up ahead, if you're familiar with the 405, it just gets worse traffic-wise. Where it goes up, it will, of course, you'll have the opportunity to split to the 118, but past that, when it merges with the 5, it's really bad up there, northbound side where it merges with the 5. So we could see a lot of slow traffic for this driver and the pursuing officers. We're passing Nordoff now, so getting close to the 118 freeway on the northbound side of the 405 here, and it continues. The speed's up a little bit. We were at 35, 40 miles an hour, but boy, it's slow up ahead. But right now, approaching Devonshire and maybe 40 miles an hour or so. Well, we have, now the lead has changed a little bit. We had one of those white CHP units, all white cars earlier, but now we have, as we move to different areas, different CHP jurisdictions, they switch out units and keep people staffed in their areas. This pursuit, if it goes throughout California, it could, there are plenty of CHP offices and officers to follow this pursuit no matter where they go. Right now we have two right behind, one of the Crown Victorias and one of the larger SUVs, and probably more in the background that I can't see. Yeah, they really do a great job. And the CHP, of course, is a statewide agency. So everywhere in the state, there's the CHP. And beyond that, if the car gets off on surface streets, most law enforcement agencies do a really good job of letting other agencies know that the pursuit is definitely headed their way. Yep. We are approaching the 118. So this about 55 miles an hour. And what this is it's gone so slowly that the traffic up ahead has kind of had a chance to go ahead. So that's what we're seeing there. But, just passing the 118. So we're northbound on the 405, past the 118, headed into the Mission Hills area. And I'm going to tell you, as I do look ahead, there is quite a bit of traffic on the northbound side of the 405 as you approach the 5. That's a tough one because right now it looks like they could, but up ahead, I will tell you in just a moment, this car will come into an area that's heavily congested. Northbound side of the 405 looks like past approaching Rinaldi, and it looks good there, but as we get closer to the 5, it is going to get very slow. Yeah, that's a lot of agencies and the CHP as well have really kind of adopted a policy of, once we know who they are and where they're going, they can just track him from the air or her from the air, and not even they may not even know they're being pursued. So that sometimes is a much safer approach for the public, and they have that option certainly. Exactly. Right. Vandalism. Yep. Yep. Yeah, they're blocking the on-ramp, and it looks like the West Valley, here's a perfect example, West Valley office of the CHP is handing this over to the Newhall office as we continue north here. So these are Newhall units from up north, and, they'll carry on the pursuit, and the West Valley officers will just go back to their routine. So that's how this works. They just kind of hand it off to the next group. We have passed the 118. The next big stop will be the 210, or the ability to get off the freeway as far as another freeway is the 210 up ahead. We're the Mission Hills area. Slowly we're approaching the Newhall Pass. It'll probably be busy up that way too, but traffic's not horrible here. It was just kind of a slow spot there. But it is northbound 405 past the 118, still slow. Right, we're approaching. Well, actually, the 210 would be the next stop. I'm gonna. It may get a little grungy here, but I'm just gonna zoom in real tight to see if I can see anybody else in there. Yeah, and I see one person. I see one person. I don't see any movement on the right side, so I don't think there's a passenger there. But let me zoom out and get refocused there. But yeah, that's looks like one person in there on the northbound side of the 405. We're past the 210 now, and the next big stop will be the 5 merge. Right. And of course, then you can also take the 14 north as we head up that way in the Newhall Pass. So if this is someone who is trying to return to Northern California, first of all, they have a long way to go. And second of all, the northbound side of the 5, it would probably be the route he or she might take. Yep, just about 50, 55, that's right. So it's now we're getting into that area on the northbound side of the 5 it's not quite as sparsely. It's not quite. What am I trying to say? Not quite as congested as the northbound side of the 405 through the valley. So it may get a little lighter. There may be some stretches right near Magic Mountain that get a little heavy. But we're northbound still. Now we're on the 5. We've passed the merge with the 5 there from the 405, and northbound headed through the Newhall or towards the Newhall Pass. And officers, I think, must feel that this person is, they must feel somewhat good about the fact that this person is not doing the erratic things that we so often see in these pursuits. It's just a kind of a leisurely drive up the 5 at this point. Right, and they've got to wonder, what's going through this person's mind, regardless of what the initial alleged crime was, failure to yield. I mean, why is this person ignoring what is obviously, a large contingent of CHP officers behind him or her, and that always makes you wonder, why? Seeing some lane changing. We're getting up into the area where we may see the 14. They may take the 14 if they wanted to head north. Nope, it looks like we just passed that exit. So we're committed northbound side of the 5 here in the Newhall Pass. Yeah, we saw that, and part of that is it gives them a little more room to maneuver if they can keep some of the traffic from coming onto the freeway. Now it looks like we're headed over to the right just a little bit. Northbound side of the 5, we've passed the 14, and that was the truck off-ramp. So we still could see this person take the auto off-ramp, I guess, but it doesn't look like he or she wants to. Let's see. It's a little, possibly. Oh, we're in the shade there, so we'll wait till the car pops out. Looks like we're going to go. We are going to commit to the northbound side of the 5 for sure. And once we get over these flyovers, I'll take a look in there. Here we. Yep, I saw a hand move around a little bit. Nothing too unusual, and again, it's just it's striking how nonchalant this driver is. Just like headed home from work, the way he or she is driving. That's true. Although if you think about it, they hand it off from one office to the other, and they all end up going home after, when their shift is over. So it's exactly. Northbound side of the 5. Yeah, just past the 14 now. We're headed we're in Newhall right now, headed towards Valencia and Santa Clarita. Yep. Yep, headed northbound through the Newhall Pass, headed into the Santa Clarita Valley. And as I look ahead through the front windshield here, there's not a lot of traffic up ahead. So it's kind of open roadway up ahead, which is good for the CHP. They have more options. They can do the pit maneuver. They can use a spike strip if they want to, possibly more options than they would have in really thick traffic. Initially, it may have been, I'm guessing about 45 minutes or so, maybe an hour at the most. And yeah, time really is on the CHP's hands here because the driver is, for the most part, acting safely. And so they don't have a critical need to stop him or her right now. They may just kind of wait this out. Okay. All right. Okay, so northbound side of the 5 here, you see another CHP unit there. 10-4. So yeah, northbound side of the 5. We are past the 14 freeway, headed into the Santa Clarita area. And not a lot of erratic driving here. Speeds very tame, around 50, 60 miles an hour. And this vehicle initially wanted in connection with some sort of vandalism at a motel in Inglewood. Inglewood police handed it over to the CHP, and that happened about an hour ago, I'd say, or maybe 45 minutes. And now it's just been a slow drive up the 405 and then the 5. We're approaching Rye Canyon, northbound side of the 5. Excuse me, approaching Lyons now. And you see, that's kind of interesting. The CHP kind of ducking behind a van there. Northbound side of the 405, past Lyons. Next is going to be McBean Parkway. Northbound side of the 5. Look at all those CHP units behind there. Northbound side, approaching McBean Parkway, northbound side of the 5. Northbound side of the 5, we are passing McBean Parkway here in the Santa Clarita area. Kind of getting close to Magic Mountain. Traffic's pretty light. Looks like a sheriff's car there. Okay. Sounds good. Yep. Sounds good. It's going to get interesting here. Yeah, just approaching Magic Mountain Parkway. This car, about 45 minutes ago or so, the person inside that car believed by the Inglewood Police Department to have done some kind of vandalism at a motel in that city. They were briefly in pursuit on the northbound side of the 405, and then they handed the pursuit over to the CHP. And as I mentioned, that was about 45 minutes or so ago on the northbound side of the 405. We watched as this car headed through West LA, up through the Sepulveda Pass, through the valley, and now approaching Magic Mountain Parkway, or past Magic Mountain Parkway here in the Santa Clarita area, northbound side of the 5. We're seeing we've noticed it's a very slow pursuit. It's about 50 miles an hour, not a lot of erratic driving. Just very kind of conscientious driving by this person as they continue to head northbound on the 5, but essentially just ignore all the police units behind them, all the CHP units behind him or her. We don't know exactly who this person is, but we're working on that, and the CHP is as well. Northbound side of the 5, past Magic Mountain, and it looks like the roadway fairly clear up ahead. Uh, Basically, Kern County line. What do you think, Alex? About 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, until we get in a like Kern County line. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Mm. Castaic, by the way, Castaic. Northbound side of the 5, we're up near the Castaic area now, northbound on the 5, seeing that slow speed of about 55 miles an hour, and no aggressive moves by this driver or the CHP for that matter. As the officer said, time is kind of on their hands, and this driver not endangering the public too much, so this pursuit just slowly winds its way up the 5 here in the Castaic area. They may. I had heard some mention possibly about a spike strip, but no, nothing specific. So we're keeping our ears open for that. But up ahead, I'll just pull out and show you kind of the wide view here. Not much going on up ahead. A few trucks, but we're in that Castaic area, and you see the officers behind there, and just a slow rambling pursuit now on the northbound Golden State Freeway. We've not seen speeds really go over 60 on this whole pursuit. Basically, they've been lingering around 50, 55 or so. And northbound here, there are a few slow vehicles as they climb up the hill. We're heading kind of into towards the Grapevine area, northbound side of the 5 here. That long hilly road as you head north on the 5 out of the LA area, headed up towards the Bakersfield area. They could absolutely, and since the driver's behaving pretty well, they may just do that. I mean, there's at this point no real reason to force this driver to do anything at this point because it's open freeway for the most part up ahead. it's dangerous. It's and pitting automatically causes damage in many cases, both to the car and the CHP unit. So if there's no reason to aggressively stop this pursuit, then they can watch it. But yeah, the pit maneuver, the pursuit intervention technique is what PIT stands for, if you've ever wondered. That is something many police agencies are certified to do. CHP, one of them. We've seen thousands of them at this point, and they will do that if they really need to end a pursuit. But at this point, it's just kind of going on safely up the 5. Of course, the spike strip is another option. It's dangerous, though, because so often the driver can see the officers setting up if they're not in just the right position, so that the driver will then respond erratically to try to not run over it. And then, of course, yes, the other drivers can get hit. The CHP officers can get hit. So a lot going on with spike strips that make it dangerous as well. Sure, we're northbound in that really hilly stretch of the 5, the Grapevine area. The next town is going to be Gorman, and that's pretty much the next thing on the northbound side of the 5. Not a lot of traffic up ahead. The major stops along the way, of course, the Bakersfield, Fresno area, and then points north of that. So the way this is going, it certainly could be a long day for the CHP. Yeah, it's stuck in traffic, and now we're going 65. So that's about the fastest this driver has gone on this entire pursuit, it's an interesting pursuit. We certainly do get the variety of chases here in Southern California, and this is another one for the books. Yeah, about 65. We're doing 70 now, so we're breaking the speed limit. But yeah, it is northbound side of the 5. It has been a very slow, unusual pursuit, 50, sometimes 40, 35 miles an hour, and that's about the gist of it on the speed. Northbound side, you can see it is empty up ahead. Now, some of that may be CHP's doing. They may have taken some or created a traffic break of some sort up ahead, but it's really light traffic today on the 5, both north and south, I might mention. Right. Right, it's possible. I have not seen any CHP units up to the left there, which is they usually would be hiding kind of behind a barrier of some sort, or if there's something over there. But yeah, not a lot of hand movements. It's really weird when we look closely at the driver. It just resembles somebody on their way home from work. You know, not really doing much of anything unusual. Now that's interesting. We don't usually see the CHP pull ahead like that. I'm not sure what that we'll have to see what happens. Like maybe there's something up ahead, some kind of obstruction, or maybe they're just trying to make it more clear that to the driver that yes, you are being pursued. Yes, we want you to get off the freeway. I'll pull out here just a little bit to see if we can see what happened to that unit. Yeah, that was very strange. They usually don't want to be, because that's obviously a dangerous position to be in, passing a fleeing suspect like that, because the suspect has the opportunity, if by chance that suspect was armed, they do have an opportunity to put the officer in danger when they do that. So they do that very rarely. Yeah, not at all. And for all we know, they may actually be in contact with the driver. So often that is the case. They try to establish some sort of cell phone conversation with the driver to say, look, you're not getting away, or you need to, you're putting people at risk. Just pull over and things will be okay. That's, what they try to do so often. Vandalism, and at this point, of course, failure to yield, and anything that the driver does to break a traffic law or blow a stop sign, which we haven't seen, but anything the driver does adds up. They add it on to the initial charge, so it can be a long list of things if the driver just keeps going. Right. On the freeway, on the Grapevine, and this is one of those areas. Of course, when it's stormy, it can get kind of treacherous. Dry roads, nice kind of driving conditions up here. Not anything in terms of traffic up ahead to speak of. There's a truck. Right. We've only seen, as I've looked in the windows a couple of times closely here. I'm going to zoom in. It's not going to be super crisp, but at least we can get a good shot of what's going on in the car. And, yeah, the driver seems to be, at least from this point, the only person I can see in that car. I know this is kind of a chamber of commerce moment for our freeways because it's when I'm always on this 5, it's usually very thick with traffic. So we're up on the Grapevine here, northbound side of the 5, and the speed's about 66 miles an hour. Wide open, and as I look ahead, the CHP doesn't appear to be taking traffic off or anything. It's just really light. So those are the conditions of the day that they have to deal with, and that's good because that gives them more options as far as room to work and possibly spike stripping or doing a pit maneuver or just following, because it makes it a little safer. Some lane changes, possibly because they might see something up ahead in terms of CHP activity. So there's really not a lot of traffic, but I'll pull out a little bit and maybe we'll see something there on the left shoulder as far as CHP activity. No, it doesn't appear. They're just kind of just making subtle lane changes, as you said. Northbound side of the 5, we're kind of in the Gorman area now, so we're getting up there on the northbound side of the 5. Gorman is that little town that's just off the freeway when you head through this area, so that will be the next thing you see as far as towns and buildings. But it's just very light conditions headed towards Gorman. Looks like we're right before Smoky Bear Road. This driver's now in the far right lane, which is always an encouraging sight. So we'll see if anything comes of that. No, it's a pretty. We're in that area that's pretty empty. That was, I think, maybe either a CHP way station or some sort of truck thing there that the driver did not take or use to get off the freeway. Once this person was on the freeway in Inglewood, the 405 initially. He or she just looks, just kind of preferred to stay on the freeway, apparently, never veering onto Surface Street. So aside from their helicopter, the LAPD was never involved in this pursuit. It's been Inglewood Police and then eventually the CHP. I will mention the helicopter from LAPD was following the pursuit. They've moved off back to the city of LA, and apparently the CHP has requested another helicopter to come down from the Fresno area. It's very rare, and it does make you just realize what's the mindset here. With all those units, knowing that's behind you, knowing there was some kind of trouble at a hotel, whether a crime was committed or not. This person is probably aware that there was some kind of issue, and at what point do you just decide to go on a drive and ignore all this activity behind you? And we've been very, very lucky in that nobody that we know of has been hurt or involved in an accident. Because if this pursuit comes up and somebody tries to get out of the way and make a quick lane change, it's kind of on them, the suspect, for getting this going to begin with. So we've been very, very lucky to not have seen any of that so far. Yeah. About Yep, we're about 80 miles an hour now, northbound on the 5. We've pretty much passed through the Gorman area, and it looks like headed towards Kern County. I will say that the driver has pretty much stayed in the right lane lately, which could indicate either he or she maybe has seen a spike strip in the left lane and is wary of that, or maybe they want to eventually stop and get off the freeway. We'll keep an eye on that. There's a sheriff's LA County Sheriff's unit there on the southbound side. But not involved in this, just kind of keeping an eye on things. Oh. We're talking 80, so we're going faster than we've gone before, and it's about 75, 80 miles an hour. Yeah, I would say not. Yeah, and with this kind of traffic, it's just free flow, and it's moving well on the southbound side too. So we're in the number 3 lane there on the northbound side of the 5, again north of Gorman, and kind of heading into eventually what could be the Bakersfield area. Now, what that is what we've already seen it once before. This is the Newhall office handing it over to the next CHP division to the north. So that, I believe, is going to be the Kern County, one of the Kern County offices. So they have taken over the pursuit now, and it continues to roll that way. Wherever you go on the freeways here in California, the CHP will just hand these off to the next jurisdiction. We need to turn. We need to turn a little, or something. The camera's hitting the gear. Why are we? That might be a spike strip. Yep. And seeing the same slow speeds. Now we're up to about 66 miles an hour, and it's a little bumpy for us up here, so excuse the bumpiness there, but we're keeping it at a high altitude here for the signal, northbound side of the 5, and we are, in the Grapevine area. Next freeway up ahead, if you looking ahead, there would be the 99 headed towards Bakersfield. The 5, of course, continues up the state. We've not seen this person show any inkling or desire to get off the 5 since the 405 merge. So there is the LA County Sheriff's Department helicopter overhead, keeping an eye on things, and not a lot of traffic up ahead. That's true. Yep, a couple of CHP. We saw a sheriff's unit as well. They are following. They're not letting this one go. They've, determined that it's not a dangerous pursuit that they have to let go, and they're just going to keep following this person northbound side of the 5, again heading towards Kern County. It will be. I will have to say, it will be interesting to see who this person is and what they do when this does eventually end, which doesn't appear to be anytime soon. So it's as I mentioned earlier, it just seems like somebody acting as if they're driving home from work. Fraser Mountain Park Road is the next off-ramp there, northbound on the 5. We're passing that now and continuing. Now there'll be kind of a bit of an uphill stretch and then that long downhill stretch into the next valley, and that's looks like where we're headed here on the North 5. Okay. Okay. What's that, Alex? Okay. Well, we've officially entered Kern County, and that, of course, the next county up to the north along the 5, and very, very light traffic. I'm going to pull out and show you what's up ahead. Not much. We've got quite a bit of clouds and stuff up ahead, but in terms of traffic, no. It's all light here on the northbound side of the 5. This began over an hour and a half ago in Inglewood when this person, the Inglewood police believed was involved in some sort of vandalism inside a hotel room. They pursued this car up the 405 just briefly, handed it over to the CHP, and they've been in charge of this pursuit pretty much from the start of it after Inglewood PD handed it over. West LA, it went up through the Sepulveda Pass, the Valley, up through the Newhall area. Now we're in Kern County, northbound on the 5, headed towards looks like the Bakersfield area. Now, I'm going to tell you something very interesting here that my pilot Alex just pointed out. Here in Kern County, on the just at the bottom of the valley, sort of where the 99 branches off from the 5, there's some extreme weather up ahead in terms of a large weather cell. So that may factor into this as well. It's, in fact, so large that if this keeps going through that area, I'm going to pull out and just kind of give you a look-see here as I briefly pan up here. That's what we're headed into over there. So that is going to be very interesting in terms of safety on this pursuit. They're not going to want to endanger themselves, the CHP officers, or anybody else by slipping and sliding around the freeway. That's going to make it very dangerous up ahead. It certainly will. I will have to see if it's safe for us to continue into that area, but we'll keep an eye on it. We're northbound on the 5, again approaching the downhill, what is going to be the downhill side of the Grapevine as you kind of head into the Central Valley. Oat. What's our fuel? About 40 minutes total flying time. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to put that on camera. That's crazy. Now, yeah, and this continues northbound side of the 5, headed, well, we're on the downslope side of the Grapevine now, headed into the Central Valley. And I've got to give you a warning here. We're not going to be able to follow this much longer because of some extreme weather. I'm just going to pull out this, show you this real quickly here. We have what is kind of developed into one of those things we often see out of Arizona, where it's kind of they call them haboob situations, where there's a massive dust storm. We are not going to be able to go through that right there. So we'll follow it as long as we can, but we're on the downslope side. Again, this person wanted possibly for vandalism in the Inglewood area, briefly picked up by the Inglewood PD, the pursuit, and then they handed it off to CHP on the West LA side there, and this has gone all the way up through the valley, up into the now into Kern County, as we are unfortunately facing some weather up here that we won't be able to continue much further, but that is also going to add a new dynamic to this pursuit headed northbound on the 5. Yeah. No. And for us, the situation. And that's good news, but look, I mean, we aren't able to continue because of this dust storm, unfortunately, and that's going to make driving hazardous for everybody involved in this, just visibility-wise, unfortunately, as this goes into the Central Valley now, and just kind of a bizarre dust storm here moving across the freeway into the foothills, and not a situation we can go through. And for you, the viewer, I apologize. Yeah. It is. It's one of those things we so often see these, in Arizona is